is going, to understand the consumer preferences of your organization, to understand the conversation around competition, to understand the conversation around governance, to also understand conversation around leadership and strategy. And when you put all of these things together, then HR can now be positioned as a strategic human resource function, or the person can be positioned as a strategic HR leader. All right. Now, when you look at all of these conversations, you would notice that by the time you get into our certification classroom, right from module 1 to module 6, we are positioning you to become a strategic HR person. All right. So the first module you would be going through at the HR Certification Center is on business knowledge, or the conversation on strategy and leadership. Now, why is it important for you to understand the business environment, or to have competent business knowledge? So that you, as the HR practitioner, you can understand where your business is going, you can understand the issues affecting your business, and you also can understand how your business makes money and how your business is spending that money. So that is the first module you would go through as when you come through our certification. All right. Now, for those who would be joining us for the senior HR professional in human resource, which is the SPHRi, you would also be going through strategy and leadership. Now, that will be your first module. In that module, we will be training you on how to come up with a competent HR strategy. And that HR strategy would have to have bearing on the corporate strategy. So when we take the corporate strategy or the corporate goal of an organization for a particular business year, the senior HR practitioner must draw the people strategy or the HR strategy from the corporate strategy. And obviously, a senior HR practitioner must understand issues of leadership. You must understand how to lead yourself, first of all. You must understand how to lead your team. You must understand how to lead the business. All right. Now, in that class, we would be taking you on the necessary skills the HR practitioner must possess and how you must position yourself to lead the business that you support. And all of that would happen in module number 1. Then we move on to module number 2, which is workforce planning. Now, in the past, I'm sure you would have heard terms like talent management. You would hear recruitment, you hear selection, but the conversation has gone a step further away from just recruitment or just selection or talent management. But the HR must be positioned to have a competent knowledge of how to plan the entire workforce. And so if we are moving into a new phase of our business, or we are moving into a new business year, the HR practitioner will be trained in this module to audit the workforce. So you have a complete audit of your workforce. You will identify people who, or the vacancies that will exist, the people that you must recruit, or if there are no vacancies and you need extra talent in your organization, how to position yourself to recruit such people. You would also be looking at the competencies that are required for the new business year. And for that matter, you would audit to find out if we have those talent already, or we need to make some recruitment or some training for the talent that is required. All right. So in workforce planning, we are looking at the people that would work in a certain business year or in a given period, and how we can competently plan so that we do not have workforce shortages, we do not have excess workforce that we do not need. Now, in that module, for example, we are looking at the workforce that will be permanent. So full-time employees Or are there some aspect of our operations that we must outsource? So we do not need a sit-in person to do that work, but we can give it to a third party to run for us. So then we outsource that particular one. We would also be looking at people who we can have on temporary basis, what we call right in Ghana here, casual workers. So the HR practitioner must be positioned to do that. And that is what you will learn in module number 2. Then in module number 3, we will be looking at learning and development, what we call in the past training and development, right? So in this particular module, we are looking at how we can train our people for the work they're required to do now, and how we can develop them for the task that is ahead. What competencies do we need in the future? What skills do we need in the future? And so the HR practitioner or the HR manager must be positioned to identify the skills and train people and develop them so that every time we have a skilled workforce, we have competent workforce to work with. Then we move on to module number 2, which is on total rewards. Now, total rewards is what we call compensation and benefits. How do we pay our people? How do we ensure that we are paying fairly? How do we ensure that the work that the people are doing, they are adequately compensated for it? How do we even pay people who are not locals, but we have to take them from outside of our jurisdiction, what we call expatriate? How do we manage them? How do we pay them? How do we pay people at the junior level? How do we pay people at the mid-level? And how do we pay people at the executive level? And even to the board level, how to determine all of these wages are captured in module number 4. Then in module number 5, we are looking at employee relations. How do we live with our people? How do we live with the different generations that in our space? How do we live with the locals? How do we live with the expatriate? How do we ensure that we have equality in our organization? How do we make sure that we are able to accommodate everybody in the conversation of diversity? How do we make sure that we create a safe space for our people? How do we ensure that conflicts are resolved adequately and on time? If we have people if we have certain environments that are unionized, how do we ensure that us as a business, we can effectively work with the union so that we do not have labor unrest in our organization? And then when we move on to module number 6, which is very, very critical. Now, I have a statement that I would always make to every HR practitioner, that you cannot lead people, you cannot manage people when you are not properly skilled in the employment laws of the country you work with. So for example, if you're working right here in Ghana, you cannot call yourself a strategic HR manager when you do not have full knowledge of the employment law of Ghana, which is the Labor Act and its supporting legislation. We're talking about the LI 1822, LI 1833, and then we also have other legislation that the HR practitioner must work with. We have the Alternative Dispute Resolution Act, we have the Compensation Act, we have the Pensions Act, we also have the Shops and Factories Act. That is, if you find yourself in an environment, the manufacturing environment, and all of that. These are all supporting legislations that every HR practitioner, every people manager, and if I say people manager, I am referring to that unit head, that functional head, that line manager that manages people. So once you are given a title of manager and you have people who report to you, you become the HR in practice for that particular department. And so the fact that you do not bear the title HR doesn't mean you're not doing HR job. You are actually doing HR job. And so you must understand people, first of all, how to lead people. You must understand how they work. You have to have fair knowledge of performance management. You must have fair knowledge of employee disciplinary, procedures. You must also have fair knowledge of how to resolve conflicts when they come. And you must also have appropriate understanding of what constitutes fair termination in the Labor Act, all right? So when you put all of these together, then we can call you a strategic HR manager. And that is where HR is currently in the business space. Now, I have heard stories of my CEO doesn't respect me, my organization doesn't take me seriously. The question I ask is, have you positioned yourself as a strategic HR manager? And when we talk about strategic HR manager, you have to go through this 6 cycle that we have put together. If you're able to go through it effectively, then you gained the knowledge, you position yourself with confidence so you can lead the HR function of your organization. And these are the modules, the key modules that we take you through at the HR Certification Center. Whether you are entering at the associate level or you are entering at the professional level or at the senior professional level, we will take you through these key functions so that you can position yourself for the organizations that you lead, all right? Now, I mentioned from the beginning that we are a tuition provider for the Human Resource Certification Institute, headquartered in Virginia, USA. And I also mentioned that we're currently running 3 certifications: the Associate Professional in Human Resources, the Professional in Human Resources, and the Senior Professional in Human Resources. It is important to note that these certifications are standalone certifications, so you do not have to go through all 3. It is not in levels that you have to finish level 1 before you go to level 2, before you move on to level 3. What it means is that the qualification you have currently would determine which of these 3 you qualify for. So if you have an entry-level qualification, you go through the entry-level certification. When we progress into the slides, I will tell you about the requirements for each of these certifications, all right? So recognized in 134 plus countries, and they are standalone certifications that you can enroll in. Right. Now let's look at why it is important. Why is it important? Why is it critical at this time in our, future of work that you must have a professional HR certification? First of all, we want you to note that professional certifications are a demonstration of mastery. When we talk about mastery, it is you having to commit to a body of knowledge. The body of knowledge are the levels you would go through, the required content that you would go through, determined by a certification body. That is what we would build for you, that mastery. And we at the HR Certification Center says that by the time you go through module 1 to module 6, you have no option than to up your skills, to build for yourself that mastery, position yourself to deliver value for the organizations that you support, all right? Then reason number 2 that you must have professional certification is because you would have, or we would build for you, technical expertise to respond to key issues. Now, when we talk about key issues, we are talking about the very pertinent issues that borders on people management. Now, we at the HR Certification Center once again says that we position you to manage every HR situation from entry to exit. Now, from entry is when you have determined your workforce or you have planned your workforce and you have people enter into your space. So just when you open your doors for applications, from viable candidates. That is the entry of your HR function. How do you get people into your organization? How do you manage them whilst they are with you? What do you do with them? And when they are exiting your organization, whether they are resigning onto other jobs, whether they are retiring, or whatever means of exit, how do you handle that exit procedure? So from entry to exit, we build for you that technical expertise to respond to all of those pertinent issues. Now, the value number 3 that you would gain from professional certification is what we call the cross-cultural competence. The cross-cultural competence. Now, my mentor will say that we live in a global village where everything we do seems to be intertwined, and we do not only have employees coming from our jurisdiction. Your business can be right here in Ghana, but you have employees coming from all over the world. Sometimes you even have customers, stakeholders, key stakeholders coming from all across the globe. How are you positioned as an HR person to deliver on all of these issues? Now, if you have a business in Ghana and you have a key stakeholder, that means you would have some international assignment. Sometimes we travel from our jurisdiction to another jurisdiction just to go and perform our business function. We would position you to have that competence to respond to international assignment, to respond to international engagement, all right? Then value number 4 that you would gain from pursuing professional certification is because it's become a necessary requirement. I'm sure you have seen HR job vacancies that are looking for international certification as added advantage. Now, if you've seen that, then this is the right opportunity for you to jump onto an international HR certification so you can position yourself to transition from your current role to another role, or to even get access into the employment space. And then also, if you're currently practicing as an HR person, maybe at the mid-level, it has become a requirement from the regulator that you must have an international certification to practice at a higher level in Ghana. So you are aiming at that HR manager. Know that it is required for you to have professional certification. You are aiming to become the HR director of that organization. It has become a requirement for you to practice at a higher level in Ghana. Now, for these values, employers tend to prefer certified candidate over non-certified candidate. What it simply means is that you have that person who is looking for a job with just a degree, first degree or second degree in HR, and you have a first degree and a professional certification. You tend to have an upper hand over somebody without a professional certification because of the mastery you would build in going through the professional certification. Right, now let's look at the 3 different certifications we have right here at the HR Certification Center. So the first, which is the entry-level certification, is what we call the Associate Professional in Human Resources International. Now, I'm stressing on the international because we also have the US version of the international certification, where you only see Associate Professional in Human Resources. Once you see it without the international, what you should know is that whatever examination you are writing would test you on the US employment law. Once you see any certification without the I, what it means is that you would be tested on the US employment law. But the ones with the I, which is the international version, means that you're going to write the exam without being tested on the American laws. Of course, if you are not practicing in the US, if you don't intend to go and practice in the US, then your best bet is the international version. Because with the international version, you can practice in any country, the USA, including the USA. What it means is that wherever you are practicing from, you only need to have the employment law knowledge of that country. So, for example, for those of us practicing in Ghana, we're doing the international version and we need to go through our module number 6, which is the labor laws of Ghana. Now, if you're on this call and you would not be practicing in Ghana, you will go through the international version, all right, but you're not going to do our module number 6. You're not going to do our module number 6. What it means is that if you are going to, participate in this certification from Nigeria, you will do module number 1 to module number 5. And then for module number 6, you will do it from your country where you will be practicing. So that's Nigeria. If you're listening to me from Kenya, you will do module 1 to module 5, and then you will do your module number 6 from Kenya. That is how the international version is structured. Now, the beautiful advantage is that you can take this certification from any country. You can join us from Kenya, from Uganda, from Nigeria, from US, from UK. We've had students from 11 plus countries joining the certification through the HR Certification Center right here in Ghana. All right. So for the associate professional, you go through 6 modules. The module number 1 is HR operations. Module number 2 is recruitment and selection. Module 3 is compensation and benefits. Module 4 is human resource development and retention. Then module number 5 will look at employee relations, health, and safety. And then, of course, if you're going to practice in Ghana, module number 6 is employment laws of Ghana. If you're going to practice from somewhere else, it would be the labor laws of that country. Now, what do you require to go through the associate professional? You need a first degree in any field, not necessarily in HR. Your first degree can be in any field at all. And you do not need an HR experience. So for those of us who have finished university and we're waiting to jump onto the job market, this is an opportunity for you to go through the Associate Professional in Human Resources International. Have for yourself a professional certification before you get into the job market. And also for those of us with 1 year, 2 years experience in other field other than HR. So you have 1 year of working experience, 2 years of working experience, but not in HR, but you still want to transition into HR. This is an opportunity for you to enroll in the associate professional level. Now for the tuition option, we have the physical options, and we also have the online option. The physical options are on Saturdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then Sunday is on from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Our Sundays classes are the virtual classes. So wherever you are, for those of us who would not be joining from Ghana, wherever you are, you can connect onto our class on Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, for the associate professional, the duration of your program is 6 months. So 6 months, you go through all of the modules. We prep you to sit the professional exam. So the requirement, again, a first degree in any field, no HR experience, you qualify to go through this particular certification. Tuition fee is 1,300 per month. 1,300 per month. That's all you need to pay every month for 6 months. And once you are ready to sit your professional examination, you need $400 US. $400 US to go through the examination. And that examination fee is paid only when you are ready to sit the professional exam. Now let's look at the professional level, which is the second certification for the HR Certification Center. Now, for the professional level, you would also go through 6 modules. 6 modules, right? Your first module, if you qualify for this particular certification, your first module will be business management. I spoke about why it is important for you to know or understand the business environment that you are operating in. Then your module number 2 is workforce planning and talent acquisition. Module number 3 would focus on employee development and engagement. Then module 4 will look at total rewards. Module 5 will look at employee relations and risk management. And of course, module 6 will look at the labor laws of Ghana. Now, what is the requirement to qualify for this particular certification? You need a first degree in any field and a 2 years working experience in HR. 2 years of work experience in HR plus a first degree in any field will qualify you to go through the professional level. Now, the tuition option, again, for this particular certification is also, we have the physical option, which is Saturdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Then we have the virtual options that will happen on Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And of course, for this particular certification, all you need is 6 months to go through it successfully. Your tuition fee is 1,006 per month if you qualify for the professional level, 1,006 per month, and your examination fee is $495, which is paid only when you are ready to sit the examination. Now, for the senior professional certification, also you would go through 6 modules. Your first module is leadership and strategy. Module number 2, workforce planning and talent acquisition. Module number 3 is employee development and engagement. Module number 4, total rewards. Number 5, employee relations and risk management. And module number 6 is the labor laws of Ghana. As mentioned earlier, if you are not practicing in Ghana, you will do the module number 6 from wherever you are practicing from. Now, the requirement for the senior professional level is a degree plus 5 years HR experience. First degree plus 5 years HR experience. Otherwise, if you have a master's degree, you need 4 years of HR experience. Now, let me pause here to define what we mean by HR experience. I know not all of us are in the HR department performing core HR jobs, but if you were on the call about some 5-10 minutes ago, I mentioned that once you are a unit head, you are a department manager, a line manager, a project supervisor, or you have people who report to you, you are indirectly performing an HR job. Your kind of experience is what we refer to as people management experience, which indirectly is HR. And so you're on the call, you are not in direct HR department, you are at the right place. Once you have people reporting to you, it is important to understand how to manage them right from entry to exit. And so once you have 5 years of that experience and a first degree, you can go through the senior professional certification, or a master's plus 4 years of HR or people management experience. You can go through the senior professional certification. Now, the tuition options, just like the associate level or the professional level, is also Saturdays, which is a physical class, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Then we have the virtual option, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Also, this certification runs for 6 months. So you notice that our tuition options are the same for the 3 certifications. So physical class Saturday 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., virtual option Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And each of these certifications runs for 6 months. 6 months and you are through with the certification. Now the tuition for the senior professional level is 1,800 per month. 1,800 per month, and the exam fee is $595 when you are ready to sit the professional examination. Now, why must you choose the HR Certification Center for your HR professional journey? Right. Why must you choose to study with us? Now, one of the things we want you to note is that we have been running this certification for 11 years now, and the current cohort that we are recruiting for is our 47 cohort, 47 cohort. And what it means is that we have successfully delivered 46 different cohorts. And it is also important to note that we have flexible learning options for you, the busy professionals. We understand that you do not have all of your Saturdays free. You do not also have all of your Sundays free. So we have the flexible learning options for you, and also flexible payment options for you as well, so that you can alternate your learning platforms anytime you do not have your Saturdays free. All right. Then the HR Certification Center also boasts of experienced faculty. Now, in about my next slide or two, I will be introducing you to our faculty. We have 20 years or close to 20 years of experience for our facilitators. These are industry practitioners who bring to you firsthand knowledge from the organization into the classroom. Now, our learning or our teaching is such that we do not only subject you to the body of knowledge, but we also bring experiential knowledge, tried and tested experiential knowledge to the classroom to help you understand what is being taught in the classroom effectively. So we'll be introducing the faculty to you shortly. We also boast of a strong alumni. I mentioned that we have been around for 11 years, delivering 46 successful cohorts. And currently, our alumni network is running into 5,000 plus network. Now, this is the network you would belong to when you join the HR Certification Center for your international HR certification. All right. Now, I quite understand that we would have questions. I am willing to take your questions. I will respond to all of them. I would make time to do that. And so if you have questions, please do not hesitate to drop it in the chat column. If you're joining us on Facebook or LinkedIn, please drop it in the comment section. We would pick them and respond to them accordingly. You can also send us directly your questions on 0244 122 855. 0244 122 855, so that right after the session, we can still engage with you and provide appropriate direction for all of your enquiries. All right. Now, as part of our teaching or learning experience, we also bring to you what we call the practical knowledge-based workshops. Now, for each of the modules you'll be going through, for each of the modules, there is a practical knowledge-based workshop to augment that learning. Now, what these practical knowledge-based workshop does is that it helps you to appreciate the module, the content of the module in practice. So for example, when we talk about workforce planning, there is a workshop that will help you appreciate what it means to, know, or what it means to do workforce planning. Now, there's also one critical thing in understanding the business environment. I spoke about understanding how your company, rope in revenue. How do we make the money? What are we spending it on? If we say our company or our business is profitable, what does it mean? And so there's a workshop on that. Understanding business finance is also one of the practical knowledge-based workshops we would bring to you whilst you go through the certification with the HR Certification Center. Now, another thing we do is to bring to you multiple mock prep tutorials and even one-on-one prep exams to prepare you for your examination. Now, we understand that this is an adult learning platform where, the likes of myself, we are examphobia. Once we talk about examination, we miss a heartbeat. But the HR Certification Center is positioned to not only teach you, but also to prep you for your examination. And so we bring to you, or we give you access to multiple mocks, tutorials, and even one-on-one tutorials when you are ready to sit the professional exam. Now, this is our value proposition to you for studying with the HR Certification Center. And then finally, permit us to boast. We haven't only been around for 11 years. We haven't only tutored over 5,000 individuals, but in preparing our candidates to sit the international exam, we have an enviable 90% pass rate. 90% pass rate. Now, in the year 2025, our pass rate was 84%. Now, I'm sure we have people who have joined our previous information session. The year 2025, our pass rate was 84%. Now, the first quarter of 2026 saw us deliver a 90% pass rate. Now, it can only get better, and these are the many reasons why you should choose the HR Certification Center for your international HR certification journey or for your HR certification journey. Now, I dare say that we do not only prepare you to pass an exam, but we also build for you the credibility, the competence, and the confidence to practice HR. Now, I know we know HR. I know we understand HR. I know we have read HR at first degree. I know we have read HR at second degree. But there's that confidence you get from going through the HR certification from HR Certification Center. You walk out of our doors after 6 months with the confidence to practice HR and to deliver value for your organization. All right. Now let's look at our College of Facilitators. Now, right on the screen, I'm sure that you can connect with the faces that are on your screen, and I'm sure you know them. You have seen them on your timelines on LinkedIn or Facebook. We have Dr. Jeff Bassey, who is one of our lead facilitators at the HR Certification Center. He's also the founder of the HR Certification Center. Then we have Yvonne. We have Yvonne Redu Akpabli. Oh, I see somebody says, wow. Thank you, all's well. Your name is a lot. Thank you too. We trust that that is a good thing we are doing, and so you are just giving us thumbs up. So we have Yvonne Redu Akpabli, who is a senior certified professional in HR, over 20 years of HR experience, a senior certified HR, currently working with a public firm as director HR. Then we have Stephen Osei Kisi, formerly of the National Labor Commission. So Stephen teaches our module number 6, which is on the labor laws of Ghana. And now you know why he should be the one teaching it. He is currently studying for Makola. Yes, that's what I understand. He's done his LLM and now studying for Makola. We also have Ebo Nyameche Allen Kofi, who is a senior certified professional currently HR Director for Gifts. We have Nana Kwabena Yeboah, Senior Certified Professional, currently the HR Director for GCB Bank. We have Nana Ekia Edubia Obeng, Senior Certified Professional, currently working with BOST. We have Courage Nunya Jomeku, Senior Certified Professional, who is an HR consultant. We have Christabel Akofa Akuduga, Senior Certified Professional, also as an HR manager for a private organization. We have Martha Boache, Senior Certified Professional, currently working with Jospon. We have Mr. Kofi Saki, who is a social security and pensions consultant, formerly or as a retired practitioner from SNIT. He handles our workshop on social security and pensions. Then we have Prince Kofi Kuonu, a senior certified professional who handles our workshop on business finance for HR practitioners. We have Marianne Okanse, senior professional, also with over 20 years of HR experience, currently an HR manager for a private organization. Now, these are the College of Facilitators and the many others who join us as visiting or adjunct lecturers for the HR certification center. Now, the beautiful thing about these individuals is that they are all senior certified professional. Of course, is one of the requirements to teach on the HR Certification Center platform. You have to go through the content, sit the exam, pass, understand the content before you can teach it, because it's not HR as usual and it is not HR from the classroom. We do not focus on theories. We focus on content, context, and also the practice of HR. All right. Now let's look at some of the individuals or the organizations that have gone through our certification. Now, the representation on your screen, we have some company-sponsored participants, and we also have individual-sponsored participants. But the beautiful thing about this representation is that we have both the public and the private firm. So now I'm sure you are wondering, you do the international HR certification, how come you have public firms participating in your program? Now, whether you work with a private firm or you work with a public firm, the knowledge of HR is the same. The practice may differ depending on the industry you find yourself in, or depending on the size of your organization, or what you sell or what you do. But the fundamentals, which is the function of HR, is the same. So we have both the public and the private firms joining us for the international HR certification. Now, my boss will say we have the public firms, and I know you know what I'm referring to. The public firms also coming through the HR certification. All right. Now let's look at our certified HR professionals from the year 2025. Now, these are just people who certified in the year 2025. Now, what it means is that we have people who have studied, because every year we take on about 800 to 1,000 individuals, 800 to 1,000 individuals every year. But out of these, we have just few of them certifying. And so on your screen is a representation of our certified professionals for the year 2025. Now, when you go on our socials, you would find all of our certified professionals. Every year we display those who are certified. Sometimes even every quarter, we display the certified professionals. You know them, you can connect with them, you can also speak with them. I'm sure some of these individuals are workers from your organizations. And so you can speak with them to understand the pathway they took into the professional certifications through the HR certification center. Now we are heading to a close. I'm sure you have your questions ready. Either you are dropping them on our hotline, which is 0244122855, or you're dropping them in the chat column in the comment section so that we can respond to them accordingly. Now, how do you register? How do you register to join our next cohort, which is the 47 cohort? Very simple steps to register. You can register using our payment platforms, which is the USSD code. You can register by paying through the bank. But to simplify the registration process for you, all you need to do is send a hi to our hotline. Our admissions hotline is 0244 122 855. Hi, my name is Pelpi Tehoda. I want to register for the 47th cohort. And our admissions officers are on standby. They will assist you to register in very simple steps. Hi, my name is Pelpi Tehoda. I want to register for your 47th cohort. Then you will be assisted. If you also want to have further information, further inquiries away from today's session, same process. Hi, my name is Pelpi Tehoda, or hi, my name is Kojo Mensah, and I want to understand the process for the international HR certification. Whatever inquiries you have, our admissions officers are positioned to respond to them. Now I am open for your questions, whatever questions you have pertaining HR, pertaining how to register, pertaining the requirement, whatever questions you have. I am ready and open to take that question. Silas?
All right. Thank you very much for that delivery, Pearl.
Let's
Uh,
have the last slide, which talks about, so we'll have the last slide and we'll come back to how to register. So our 47 cohort, like I mentioned, is starting on the 13th of June. We are in May, so that is technically next month, right?
yes.
We started admissions for a while now. We started admissions from March. And so quite a number of people have registered. Now on second week in May, which is about the 17th of May, a WhatsApp group will be created for all candidates who have registered. Now, what we do on the WhatsApp platform is to have what we call the pre-learning, right? So the pre-learning gives you the opportunity to have your knowledge tested before lectures will start. So we send sample questions, you respond to them. You also have some questions you want to ask. Then your colleagues or our facilitators will respond to them before we start the class. So just about 2 weeks to go, that is into May, we would have the pre-learning. And so do not wait for last minute to register. You have a fine opportunity of joining your colleagues for the pre-learning before the sessions will start. Officially, our 47th cohort, like I mentioned, is starting on the 13th of June 2026, and we are halfway into the admission process. All right, so Silas, we can project the previous slides, then we take the questions.
All right. Once again, thank you, Pearl, for the delivery. And I believe it was an in-depth explanation on everything that people need to know about international HR certification. Pearl, I have a few questions in the comment section, but
Right.
before I read them, I want us to take a quick word or a quick video from our sponsors, which is the HR Certification Center. And this is just to give a brief overview or more or less a summary on everything that you have shared. So we'll be back, and when we come back, we'll take the questions.
Certification Center commits to a higher standard.
All right, welcome back from the short break, and that was a video from the HR Certification Center. And we are back to take the questions we have in the comment session. Now, the first question is from All Is Well, Akwete, and he's asking, how many papers do I need to write for the SPHRi?
Right. So all is well. Like I mentioned that our certifications are standalone certifications, right? So what it means is that you do not study in levels, neither do you write the exam paper by paper. So, for example, for the senior professional that you are requesting information on, you have 6 modules. So, examination is drawn from all the modules, and it is a multiple choice examination, right? So, questions are deduced from all the modules put together, and you are tested in one sitting, right? So for example, for the senior professional class, you are required to write a total of 140 questions. 140 questions, and the 140 questions are drawn piece by piece from all of the modules, and you are tested in one sitting. So for the SPHRI, you need 3 hours, 45 minutes to go through the examination. So you do not write paper by paper, but you write all of your exams in one sitting, and it is multiple choice exam. All is well. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, I believe you have. And well, by you saying it is multiple choice, I am made to believe it is very easy to pass. Or
So Silas, it can be easy and it can be difficult as well. So what I keep saying is that the exam is not a walkover, all right?
okay,
So that is why we, right from when you start your tuition, we help you to understand the concept of examination and what is expected of you in the exam, all right? And then when we are going through our tutorials and prep, we also focus on how to answer questions when you appear for the examination, how to spot the bad answers, how to spot the right answers, and then the techniques in eventually getting the correct answers. So it can be easy, it can be difficult, depending on how you prepare yourself for the exam. But of course, it's multiple choice, which makes it much, much easier than when you have to write the thesis. You know what I'm talking about. So
I
in
get.
this exam, you do not write thesis, all right?
As for this
Okay.
one, I want to write some. Okay, so someone is asking, how does this compare to a master's degree, especially in HR?
Okay. So let me put it this way. If you are coming into study for the senior professional, the requirement is actually either a first degree plus 5 years experience or a master's plus 4 years experience. Now, I'm careful how I say this so that for my colleagues who have gone through masters like myself, we do not feel that we are downplaying your knowledge. If you need a master's to study for a particular program, I know you can draw the conclusions. It
Mm,
means whatever you're coming to study is higher than a master's. Now, for
okay.
professional certifications, they are in a class of their own. We do not want to compare them to academic qualifications. What you can do is to have an assessment of the body of knowledge to see if this would equate to a master's. But if you need a master's to take a particular program, it means that particular program is higher than the master's degree. Now, Silas, one of the things we should also note is that professional certifications do not focus on theory. It does also not focus on just giving concepts, but rather your ability to blend the theory, the concept, and also the practice together. So professional certifications are more of practical based knowledge. All right. So this is a concept. This is how it is applied. That is the twist to professional exam, and that makes it unique rather than the academic qualifications.
So Pearl, you made mention of something. You said the theory, the concept, and then the practical, a
Yes.
blend of everything. Okay,
Yes.
so now there's a question here, and the person is asking that if I do not want to write the exam, how does this benefit me?
Right. So yes, this particular question is a very good question because Silas, in my presentation, I mentioned that we have over 5,000 individuals who have gone through the program, but just about 1,002 have gone through the certification already. Now, beyond the credential, what we also do is to upskill you to build the competence and then the confidence for you to go and practice. So at HR Certification Center, we are not only focusing on certification, we are not only focusing on the credential, but also positioning you for practice. So you notice that we have practical knowledge-based workshops to augment the learning. And then at the end of your tuition with the HR Certification Center, you actually walk away with 2 certificates. These are not certifications. They are certificates to prove that you have gone through learning, you have gone through body of knowledge to have some understanding of uh, this international HR certification curriculum for that matter. So you walk away with 2 different certificates that is stating all of the modules you have gone through, and then a special one designed for the labor law. All right. So these are the benefits you would get even if you do not sit the professional examination.
Okay. So a certificate to prove that you've gone through the curriculum or the knowledge of an international HR certification practitioner, and then also you get a certificate to show that you've gone through the labor laws of your country.
Exactly.
That's good.
Exactly.
All right. Now, Emmanuel writes, he said, is the associate same as the senior in relation to the examination, please?
Silas, please take that question again.
So Emmanuel is asking, is the associate, I believe he's asking about the associate professional. So
Right.
is the associate professional same as the senior professional in relation to the examination, please?
No, Emmanuel, no. So every examination depicts the certification you studied for. So if you studied for the associate professional, you write the examination for the associate professional. Now, the difference between the associate and the senior is that the associate professional is looking at people who are the entry level of their career. So a first degree and no HR experience, you qualify for the associate professional. But for the senior professional, you should have been practicing for 5 years with a first degree to
Okay.
go through the senior professional. Now, the content is also not the same. So, whilst the associate professional is testing your knowledge in foundational HR, the senior professional is testing your knowledge in strategic HR, is testing your knowledge in policy level HR. They are not the same thing. In terms of the name, they are 2 different things. In terms of content, 2 different things. In terms of requirement, 2 different things.
Okay. I think that speaks directly to Emmanuel's question. Um, so I'm looking at a time, and I think we've run
Right.
out of time, but I'll still want to exhaust this question. Someone is asking, how realistic is it for him to combine it with his full-time work? And I think because we have a lot of professionals on the call, this will also help many people. How realistic
Right.
to combine with full-time job?
It is very, very, very realistic.
Okay.
Now, prior to designing this program or curating the International HR Certification Program, we thought about the busy professionals. And so we have the flexible learning option. Let me take my time to talk about the flexible learning option. So, whatever we do in person on Saturday is the same thing we repeat for the online learning on Sunday. Now, why do we do that? so that if you're unable to make it for the Saturday in-person class, you can beautifully join the Sunday and you do not miss out on anything. And now the beautiful thing about our flexible learning option tool is that you can alternate. So every weekend you have a decision to make whether you want to do the Saturday or to do the Sunday, right? And it is that flexible. So for Saturdays, you study 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sundays is 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now, our learnings are only on weekends for 6 months, right? On weekends for 6 months. And so it is flexible. We've had, like I mentioned, over 5,000 workers. These are, so in our classroom, you would have more than 92% or more than 95% being workers. Just few of the people who are in between jobs. It's not that they do not have work experience, but they are in between jobs come through. So for the person asking the question, it's very flexible, it's very realistic to do it. Your colleagues have done it and they have gone through the 6 months, start their professionalism and passed, and they're still working.
That's beautiful. So one last question, and this is from me, a build up on the question the person asked. So I'm
Okay.
thinking, I'm a busy professional, and I believe one of the fear this person is having is I am likely to miss class. Is there any form of special arrangement? Is there any? Do you record? Do you do some? What is in for me if I am to miss a class?
Okay. As much as we do not encourage you to miss class, we we also have the recorded version of all of our classes. Every class is recorded from beginning to the end. Now, the recording is to help you refresh your learning every weekend. But for
Refresh.
those with peculiar work arrangement or situations beyond their control, and they have to miss both the Saturday and the Sunday, you can always have the recorded version so that you stay up to speed with the rest of the class. All of our sessions, the entire 6 month sessions, are recorded.
Okay. So, Bill, I believe that these recordings are made available to all the participants as and when they.
Everyone, for purposes of refreshers, yes. So it's made available and it's accessible. People actually download and put on their pen drives and play it in their cars while they are driving to work or when they are driving back home. In their group studies or their group discussions, they play it, they listen to it. It's accessible on all platforms, whatever medium you're using, you can have access to it.
All right. So, Pearl, I would like us to draw the curtains on today's discussion. But before we do that, I want to take your closing remark and then we'll call it a day.
Good. Silas, thank you. And thank you for all those who engaged by way of questions or inquiries on the call. Like I mentioned, away from this session, we are open to respond to all of your inquiries and all of your questions on 0244 122 855. But Silas, I want to say before we close that if you are here today, I don't think it's a waste of your time, even if you are not enrolling for our professional certifications yet. It's a platform for all of us to learn, especially for those who are in core HR or are planning to get into HR. It's an opportunity for us to learn, to position ourselves as strategic HR practitioners and be able to deliver value for the many or the various organizations that we support. Now, one of the things I want to leave with our audience, our listeners, is that learning must be part of your routine as an HR person. Learning in whatever form, not necessarily the formal learning where you have to pay school fees and go to the classroom to learn, but in the era of knowledge, in the day and age of knowledge, you can learn everywhere, anytime, anywhere. Now, the beautiful thing about the HR Certification Center is that we position ourselves to help every HR practitioner in Ghana and beyond to learn, to become a person that learns, to become a student of learning, actually. So once you connect with us on our social media platforms, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and even on X and TikTok, HR Certification Center, you have every opportunity to learn. So every month, every quarter, year on year, there is some form of learning happening on our platforms. We have the free learnings that you can take advantage of. Some of our free learnings actually come with certificate. So if you do not have the money yet, that doesn't mean you cannot learn. Follow the HR Certification Center on our digital platforms and connect with us, have the opportunity to learn every time and also be part of our community. Now, before we sign off, Silas,
Yes.
it is important that we take care of ourselves. Wellness is not just a buzzword, it's part of us. Wellness, not just the physical wellness, but mental wellness. A mind that is not well will not be able to learn, will not have the right framework to practice. So take care of yourselves as HR practitioners, as business executives, so that you have, a fit body, a fit mind to practice and do your work, so you become a better part of the society. Thank you so much for spending your 1 hour and more with us. We hope to connect with you further and further away from our info sessions. Now, Silas, I
Yes,
know
Bill.
today I've taken a lot of your time, but something big is happening on the 20th of May, which is the International HR Day. We are connecting with our other African brothers and sisters in the HR space to talk about HR. And so for those who are here, watch out for that big conversation on the 20th of May with
20th
the
May.
20th May, International HR Day. We would be going live and we'll be connecting with our brothers from across Africa to talk about the practice of HR. And I believe that everyone is a factor, everyone is an element, everyone can contribute to the future of HR we want to see. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for that, Bill. Before I let you go, there is one last question, and it was
Okay.
dropped while you were closing. So
Okay.
I wouldn't want us to leave him hanging. And Seth is asking, is it easy for one to get a job with a certification, and what's the salary range for the associates?
Okay. Okay. Silas, this is a loaded question
I
and it
know.
must be backed by data. I would answer the first part. It's very easy to get a job with an international certification. Now, I keep saying that at the HR Certification Center, we are not only looking at giving you a credential, we are looking at building confidence for you to practice. Now, when you appear before that recruiter, you have to sell your knowledge. It is not what is on paper that will sell you, but your ability to prove that you've gained knowledge and you're positioned to practice is what will get you the job. Now, I also mentioned that HR certifications have become added advantage to every recruitment conversation. So once you have it, you are a step, ahead of the one without the certification. Now, for the salary range, I won't sit here and deceive our audience that I have the data, but I know that professional certifications, whether in HR, in marketing, in projects, in banking, in finance, or whatever, you are always paid higher.
Yeah.
You are always paid higher. This one is not that we do not have the data. It's an available information that once you have professional certification, you are paid higher. But of course, the caveat is that you must defend the knowledge you have. If your output doesn't commensurate the certification you claim you have, do not expect your employer to pay you well. But we believe that we will teach you to produce an output that commensurates your knowledge so that you can have a higher pay. Seth, I hope that answers your question.
Well, I believe it was well unloaded, and thank you for that. That was Pearl Peter Huda, the Executive Director of the HR Certification Center. Now, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Opportunities don't change your life. Decisions do. Opportunities do not change your life. Decisions do. So the 47th cohort of our international HR certification program is starting on the 13th of June. And we want to extend an invite to you as you're on the call. If you still have any questions, if you still have anything you need clarification on, just reach out to us on 0244 122 855, and we will do well to assist you. Once again, thank you for joining us today. And we want you to know that it was an honor for us to give you all the information and the clarity that you deserve. We also want you to know that the next decision lies with you. And so registration is open and the next cohort begins soon. If this aligns with your goals, if this is in the thing you want to achieve before the end of the year, kindly reach out to us and we'll be positioned enough to assist you with that. Have a fruitful weekend and do enjoy the rest of your day. Pearl, thank you once again for your time.
Thank you,
and
Silas.
Bye for now.
Certification Center commits to a higher standard.
Why do 93% of the world's leading multinational companies prefer certified professionals? Because they tend to be committed to higher standards and ethics and maintain an informed intercultural competency. Whether you're seeking to build a career or to upgrade your HR professional career, you need to get trained and certified at the HR Certification Center today. Our experience in training and certifying HR professionals is unparalleled. We're trusted to offer a comprehensive portfolio of advanced professional credentials for the HR professionals worldwide, and today, more than 500,000 HR professionals worldwide in 125 plus countries proudly maintain our credentials as a mark of higher professional distinction. HR Certification Center. Call or WhatsApp today on 0244 122 855.